Naked Tommy is, on the one hand, kind of awkward and uncomfortable to watch, but on the other, it's brilliantly animated and quite funny, particularly one line in it which I actually laughed out loud at. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So it's definitely a very interesting episode. This is the first segment of the 15th episode of the third season of Rugrats, and it starts off with Spike wearing a jacket that Didi has bought for him. And Stu says that, Spike's not a poodle, he should be naked. And Tommy hears this and thinks, I want to be naked too. And he takes off his shirt, and he takes off his diaper, and he's naked. And we've seen him without clothes on in the bath before. But this is very different. And I will say, it is kind of uncomfortable. I know it's just an animation, but because the brain is thinking, oh, that's a naked baby, it's kind of like, oh, I don't really want to be watching this. And I think that that's the drawback of watching Rugrats as an adult. As a young child, that probably wouldn't faze me. But being an adult, it is a little bit awkward. But if you can get past that, there's a real sense of brilliant animation here. They're very clever with how they cover up a certain part of Tommy's anatomy and the angles that they use. And we see his belly button, which is slightly bizarre. We see kind of the belly button up, and we see his butt quite a lot, which is, I think, part of what makes it a bit uncomfortable. But it is very, very well animated. And I'll save the funny bit until the end, just in case you don't want me to spoil anything. But there's one bit where I genuinely laughed out loud. I thought it was amazing. But Stu and Didi, Stu more so, worried that Tommy is going to start stripping off when he's out and about. And this is one of the most realistic Rugrats narratives ever, because babies do that and toddlers do that. They just start taking their clothes off in the middle of supermarkets or when they're out on the street. They don't care. And I just thought this is a real problem that parents face, and I like that. I like that it was very realistic. And they actually have to go to Grandpa Lou's dinner. He's giving a speech, and it's very well written. That part of the episode's very well written. The whole thing is, and they're obviously worried that Tommy's going to do the same thing again. So Stu takes drastic measures. I won't say what exactly, but it was interesting. But I think Tommy made a good point. It's liberating not wearing clothing. I'm not going to try it, but some people do enjoy it. Not wearing clothing outdoors and things. I can see Tommy's perspective, I guess, but honestly, it is a little uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to watch, but at the same time, it is so funny, and there are a lot of moments in it that I thought worked very well, and I think it's very well animated. It's very cleverly done, and very effective. So, the bit that I found hilariously funny, this is the only other thing I'm going to mention, but it is a spoiler for something that happens. Easily my favourite moment in this, despite the fact that it is uncomfortable. This is one of my favourite Rugrats moments of all time. And Tommy convinces Phil and Lil to strip off. And they both do it at the same time. They stand up, and Tommy looks at Lil and kind of looks down and says, Lil, can I ask you a question? And then it cuts to the next scene, or to, I think it might have been Stu and Didi, and it's very obvious what Tommy was going to ask Lil about why her anatomy is different to his and Phil's. Chuckie, I thought, was really interesting, because Chuckie, being that little bit older, didn't want to get naked, and it kind of shows that as children start to age, they lose that sense of freedom and not caring. I think maybe Chuckie's still a little bit young for it, but it helped to show that very young babies have no sense of awareness, and Chuckie being a little bit older, those things start to change. So it's actually a really interesting episode, and very, very realistic, and very funny at the right moments, but still a bit awkward. But that moment with Lil, I just thought was, I didn't see it coming, and I just thought it was hilarious. So definitely so far, Naked Tommy is probably the most memorable episode. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. Or whether that's for the wrong reasons, I don't know. But certainly it's a very, very interesting episode.